The story begins with a nightclub owner, someone who prided himself on creating a welcoming environment for his patrons, especially on Wednesday nights, which he dedicated to the ladies. He explains how he makes a point to ensure women feel safe and enjoy their time, often offering free drinks, discounted food, or complimentary hookahs to female customers if they are at the bar by themselves. He's built a reputation for being a generous host, always wanting to ensure that people leave this club with good memories and a good time. On this particular night, everything seemed normal. As the night progressed, the club was buzzing with energy. The owner noticed two young women at the bar, ordering drinks for themselves. Seeing them alone, he approached, offering to take a round of shots with them, not with a flirtatious intent, but as a gesture of hospitality. After the shots, he continued to move through the club, checking on the customers, making sure his staff was taking care of everything. The women caught his attention again later in the night. As he passed by, they struck a conversation. They were from Carolina, a state he was familiar with from his time living there. They chatted casually and he ordered another round of shots, cementing a friendly rapport. Just a conversation. Everything felt innocent. Just a night, typical night, a lovely night. The women seemed cool, fun, respectful. There was no indication that anything sinister was brewing. As the night neared its end, the group, including the owner's friend and the two women, discussed going to an after-hour spot, a common tradition for him and his crew. The women asked if they could tag along, and he saw no harm in it. After all, they were having a good time, and extending that time with more drinks and conversation seemed harmless. They decided to share a ride rather than calling separate Ubers. At the after-hour spot, the vibe was as chill. More bottles were ordered, and party continued. He noticed that the women were friendly, but not overly flirtatious. There was no romantic agenda from either side. Everyone was just having a good time, enjoying the night, drinking, dancing, and talking. The owner at this point was feeling the efforts of the alcohol, but kept the party going. As the early hours approached, fatigue started to set in. Around 5:30 a.m., the club owner decided he'd had enough. He was drunk and ready to go home. He mentioned to the women that it was time for them to call an Uber. They agreed, but noticed the wait time was long, about 20 minutes. By this time, the owner was starting to feel the toll of the night. His house was only a short drive, and he didn't want to wait any longer. In a moment of goodwill, he offered them a ride to his place, where they could call their Uber from there. His building was secure, and he felt comfortable with the arrangement, knowing no one could get in without proper access. As they piled into the car, the women encouraged him to take one last shot. By now, he was beyond tipsy and didn't want any more alcohol. But to be polite and to get it over with, he reluctantly took the last shot. After a brief stop at the gas station for water, a Slim Jim, and his usual Sprite to help with his hangover, he drove the last few minutes to his place. The women, still friendly, expressed their appreciation for his hospitality. As they arrived, he parked in the garage and headed to his apartment. Little did he know, the shot they insisted he take was not just alcohol. The next thing he remembered is waking up hours later feeling completely disoriented. His head was pounding, his body was weak, and his memory was foggy. As he gained some sense of his surroundings, he realized something was horribly wrong. His prized Cuban link chain was worth $60,000 was gone. His 4 diamond rings gone. Even his pistol, which he had kept for protection, was missing. To top it off, several thousands of dollars had been stolen from his pocket. It took him a moment to piece things together. What happened? The women he had so graciously befriended and drugged him, waiting until he was unconscious to rob him. His stomach churned, not just from the drugs, but from the betrayal. He immediately rushed to the hospital where doctors flushed out the drugs from his system. He recalls the intense pain, the blood in his stomach, and his vomit. And he literally had pounding headaches. The drugs had eaten away at the lining of his stomach. The doctors warned him that if he didn't take a dosage, he might had not survived this incident. As he lay in the hospital, looked upon the IVs, he couldn't help but think of his family. What if the worst thing could happen? His son could have not grown up with his father. In the headline news, reading about how he overdosed, the thought shook him to the core. The women who had drugged him and robbed him might have thought they had gotten away with it. But the way they did it, they made a very bad, crucial mistake. They used their debit card at the club, leaving a trail of evidence behind. Additionally, surveillance cameras captured them leaving the Uber and entering the club. They had even called another Uber to the after-hour spot, further documenting their presence. The police were already involved, and the owner was confident that it was only a matter of time before justice was served. Although he had lost expensive jewelry and cash, all of which could be replaced, he was grateful to just be alive. The experience had taught him a valuable lesson about trust and the dangers of being too hospitable, even in the setting he was very familiar with. He reflected on how quickly things could overturn to dangerousness, even when it seems like everything was normal.